Hello, my name is Luke, and today I'm going to go through another guide with you. This time it is a lava texture tutorial that I have done. I'm going to walk you through that. You can find the link to the tutorial below. It will be on Patreon and Twitter. So let's get straight into this. So step one, start with your preferred tile size. I use 32 by 32. We're going to stick by 32 by 32, which we have here. I've already set up a palette for this so I can get through it as fast as possible with you and not keep you waiting. Tiled mode, tiled in both axes on Sprite, which is the software I am using. You're going to fill this in. Step two is create some broken rock shapes. When I say broken rock, I mean I've just gone a little bit darker here just for the rocks. We create a kind of rocks like this, but sharpen them up a bit on corners and stuff like that. This is alright. You want to avoid as like the rounded corners like this. This isn't too bad because it rounds right into a point. Let's do another example here. This is very round and we want to avoid that. So maybe here we sharpen it off just a little bit. So it's like that, and maybe create a little point up there. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying sharp broken rock shapes. And we'll go a bit more into that soon. We'll just create a few more shapes and tidy them up real quick. There we go, just a small one there, and you want to try and keep the gaps as small as you can. So the in-between gaps here should be fairly small, just to limit the color of this orange coming through so badly. I'm going to show you another little trick as well, which will help very much. So we'll just fill this in. So we've got the broken rocks, and here's how we break them down a bit more. The bigger shapes, you just, whoopsie, we just go put a single line through like that, split it off here and there, and that's like a really nice effect that really brings out the lava effect here that we're trying to go for. Just cutting some rocks up like that really brings this lava effect out quite well. Just breaking it up a little bit. Some of them you want to be thicker than others, so we'll go with like this one. Maybe we'll open the gaps up just a little bit more. And just there as well, and maybe with this one too. Not all of them, but this opening one. Just there. And we'll leave that as that. That's the broken rock shapes, step 2. Okay, step 3, add shadows. Differing is optional, and I prefer the sharper shadows. When I say sharper, I just mean without differing, basically. And a darker colour. You can't go wrong with the shadows as you're looking from above, the only light source being the lava, and the rock itself, the molten rock, could be absolutely any shape or form, so you can go crazy with shadows and lighting and no one can fault you because they don't know the shapes of the rock, basically. So it's quite easy on the beginners, especially when it comes to the shading and lighting. You can go crazy. We'll just fill out some shadows here. If you want to see the differing technique that's used for the shadows, that can add a bit of texture on a larger scale, but on this it's quite small scale, so Anyway, the different technique, I used it on the tutorial so you can see the difference. And I just much prefer the sharper shadows. It brings out the sharpness of the rocks, and I much prefer that. We're just going to finish up with a few more shadows here and there. Not too many. You don't even have to do it on the smaller ones, but also on the bigger ones, try to do multiple parts of it with shadows rather than just one area, because the rocks will go up and down and all around and go crazy. Okay, that's that step done. We are now going to move on to, actually, you know what? I'm going to change these colors. I'm going to make the shadows darker because they're not dark enough. And you gotta think that the molten rock is getting hot and then again getting cool, so the shadows are going to be quite dark and cold. So we're going to go like that. Step 4 is shift view towards orange and yellow for magma. I've already got it set up in a palette, but basically just go from red around here towards orange and towards yellow, or shift your U on the bar here. From red down here up towards orange, then towards yellow for the highlights. Now we want to fill in quite a lot of these little gaps with this colour. Normally if it starts to look a bit off at this point, it's down to the colour being a little bit wrong. Colour is very important when it comes to this texture. You need a nice balance of oranges and red. When it comes to the bigger spots like this, don't do it in the middle. Leave the middle as it is. Stick to the edges of the rocks, like so. Fill in the gaps. Stick to edges. Just scatter it about. There's no need to go too crazy and fill everything in. Just scatter it. Keep an eye over here for where the really orange spots are, so you can break them down a little bit more. And we'll just keep going. This can take a fair bit of time to get right, but we're gonna move on here and get on with it. Now onto the yellow highlights. You want to keep these small and keep them fairly bit apart from each other, and no more than 5 pixels big, I'd reckon, or it would be a bit too much. Yeah, just scatter them about as well. Little tiny cracks. There we go. We need to close these gaps up a little bit more. They're a bit too big in some places and it's overwhelming. Like here, they're a little bit too big, and here, just closing them up a bit round here. We'll add some more orange there, put a yellow dot there. even just a single pixel at this at this scale is gonna pop right out at you. Okay, it's looking fairly good. Now the next step is optional lighting, which I also think just adds more depth, but it's optional at this point. I like to do it, just add some lighting in some places on the rocks. And again, I like the sharp lighting. And just you can just spam it down again. Nice. Because the rocks you're looking from above, the only light source is the lava. So as the rocks can be any shape or form, it's not really going to matter where you put the light in, which makes this really easy to do. And there we have it. That is a nice looking lava flow. Nice looking lava flow. I feel that maybe I put too many dark shadows in. Well, not too many, but made them a little bit too thick in places. But you can always go back, just tidy it up a bit. Go back and fill in some spaces where you may feel that it's just too much. You can play with the colours, bring them down so they're not as vivid. And take the saturation down a little bit. But don't take the saturation down too much. The saturation is really what brings lava out. It's hot, it's burny. You need to get that warm, strong, eye-burning colour for the lava to make it look as real as possible. I like to stick with a nice reddy colour, usually, for lava. Not too red though. And anyway, I'm going to leave it there. There you have it, a nice lava flow. Texture. You can follow the tutorial below and get another example with differing and without differing and different ways that I've done it. And that is all for this texture. If you look backwards through my videos, there should be some other textures where I do some walkthroughs too. There's sand coming up soon after this one, and before this one there was water, which seems to be very popular. Wooden tiles, I think there's some grass. Anyway, go have fun and enjoy. Have a good day, everybody. I want to thank all my Patreons for supporting me again. Have a good day and see you next time.